Hello, everyone. A huge welcome to a Microsoft Reactor Live series. It's Let's Get Technical. I'm Suzanne, a program manager with the Reactor, and I'm based in Singapore. So thank you for joining me at our second Let's Get Technical show of the year. It's Experience Azure Data Studio with GitHub Copilot. So if you've missed the previous show, they're available on demand in the link here. Let me just share that right away. Yep. So please feel free to check that out. And if you haven't heard about Let's Get Technical, it's actually a series of 3 short 55-minute virtual events, and we launched this series last year. And today we made our way around 6 countries in ASEAN. This year we're changing things up a little, changing our session to be more language specific as opposed to location specific. So that means if you're multilingual, you'll be informed of more Let's Get Technical content and have access to more Let's Get Technical speakers, right? So you can actually find out more about our show here. So today we're joined by our very special speaker. I'm not sure what's wrong with me today. My tongue is like twisting. But yeah, so today we're joined by our very special speaker, Pio Balistoy. Let me invite him right up. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Okay, so well, you're a familiar face to many, but just for those who are new to this show or have yet to meet you yet, why don't you do a quick introduction of yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Suzanne, for inviting me for this episode. I'm Pio Balistoy. I'm a Microsoft MVP for Data Platform and Microsoft Certified Trainer. I'm a lead database consultant for Pitch and Services. So, yeah, I've been working with SQL Server my whole career.
Nice. And could you maybe let us know why you've chosen this topic for today?
Oh, actually, I chose this topic because I'm also curious
Mhm.
about this. I have to be honest with you and with everyone. I'm one of those skeptical about how GitHub Copilot will actually work, or will it be useful in our day-to-day work. So that's why I took this chance to take a look, check under the hood, test it out, see how it works. And yeah, it's a very interesting topic, and let's see if you also find the same conclusion as me.
Well, for sure, I've played around with Copilot, but I haven't done
Mm,
as much as, of course, yourself. I haven't played around
mm,
like with GitHub Copilot, especially with Azure Data Studio. So yeah, so
mm.
I'm actually interested to find out more. But before we do your session, maybe I'm going to do a quick rapid fire question and answer, just so all of us know the casual and fun side of you. Are you ready for that?
Ooh, okay, I think that's harder. All right, let's see.
So it's very easy. And for all our tech community watching this live, you can participate too by putting your answers down just for fun. Share what you think. It's this or that kind of question, all for good fun. Yeah. So let's go. Okay, Pio,
Mm.
would you prefer iPhone or Android?
Oh, iPhone.
Okay, me too. Okay, next.
Mm.
Read books or watch movies.
Oh, I'm a movie buff. I'm so sorry. I know we need to read more, but I'm movies all the time.
It's okay. I'm not judging you. Me too. But what's your latest movie?
Oh, the last one I watched, Leave the World, Leave the World Behind is very nice. It's on Netflix right now, I think. It's
Okay.
about this dystopian end of the world scenario.
Okay, sounds bleak, but all right. Okay, okay. Since you're based in Singapore, right? And
Mm,
we all know it's the concert season here. So I'm gonna ask
mm.
you, Coldplay or Taylor Swift?
Coldplay. My
Are you
son
going?
was actually asking me to go to the concert this weekend.
Oh, you're going this weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to. Maybe I'll see you. Okay, never mind. We'll talk about
Uh,
that offline. Okay, next. Staying up late or wake up early?
I'm a late person kind of guy. I sleep very late, and I usually just wake up when my sons are waking me up. So,
Okay. Okay, that's all right. Okay, then next one. Last one. Instagram or Facebook?
ooh, I'm not sure if that means I'm old, but I'm more of a Facebook person. My Instagram, I actually have an Instagram, but I don't think I even updated.
Right. It's okay. Yeah, not judging you. Yeah, but I think the millennials will use Instagram, and then the Gen Zs will use TikTok, but I could be wrong. Yeah. So anybody
Yeah.
who knows better can just drop in the comments. But okay, great. It's nice knowing you, and I think it's fun. So I think before we kick off the session, I would like to draw everyone's attention to the reactor code of conduct. So I'm just going to bring that screen up, and Pio, if you could help me to, yeah, perfect. So in short, we want to ensure that this is an enjoyable event for all. So please ensure that your comments are respectful, constructive, and welcoming. And at any time, if you have questions, you can drop them in the chat, and we'll try to answer as many as we can during Q&A. So right now, over to you, Pio. Take it away.
All right. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Suzanne, for that very warm introduction. And I would just like to express my gratitude to Microsoft Reactor for having me in this episode. But most importantly, to everyone on the live stream and to whoever is watching this on demand later on. Thank you for spending the next hour with us as we explore GitHub Copilot on Azure Data Studio. So AI has arrived. So if you check it out right now, Copilot is everywhere in the Microsoft ecosystem. But the UI experience would vary differently depending on the apps that you're using. For example, Copilot has been in Visual Studio for the longest time, so it's more mature. And the way you experience it with the newer apps is very different. So right now we want to discover how it looks like with Azure Data Studio. Uh, so right now I'm gonna do the whole presentation on Azure Data Studio. Let me know if you find anything, if the screen is too small, just let me know. But anyway, I just want to showcase ADS and how versatile it is. So for those who are joining us late, I'm just gonna quickly reintroduce myself. I'm Pio Balistoy. I'm a Microsoft MVP for Data Platform. The most important part on this section is if you have any questions about our session, about the episode, or really if you have any questions about Azure Data and you wanna feel free to let me know. You can see the the social handles on your screen right now. You can hit me up, ask me the question. It's good to connect. Or if you want, you can look for me in those two user groups that you can see on your screen: Singapore Data Platform User Group and Philippine Data Platform Forum. We have Facebook groups as well as meetup groups. So just search for those two groups and connect with us. If you are interested with similar kind of sessions, technical sessions about Azure Data, uh, we usually post our events through those groups. So yeah. So the agenda for today, like I mentioned earlier, we are going to talk about GitHub Copilot in Azure Data Studio. So we're gonna take a look how it will help on your day-to-day task. If you're a beginner, is it gonna be useful for you in learning the language, in your data exploration? How will it help? So we're going to explore that. We're also gonna focus a lot on how on Azure Data Studio, how it looks like and the capabilities that it has. And then we're going to explore how you can use the GitHub Copilot on Azure Data Studio to multiply your productivity. Then after that, we're gonna take a look at some resources. If you want to learn more, if you wanna test more, understand more about ADS, explore more about GitHub Copilot, we're gonna take a look at some resources where you can go to and learn more about these tools. So, what is Azure Data Studio? Uh, just a show of hands in the chat, in the comment. Let us know if you are aware, if you have been using Azure Data Studio. If this is not the first time you've encountered the tool, but if this is your first time and you're not familiar with it, Azure Data Studio is essentially a cross-platform data management tool What that means is you can use ADS whether you're on Mac, whether you're on Linux, or whether you're Windows. The UI and the experience for the application is the same. And like I mentioned earlier, ADS allows you to manage your whole data landscape. What I mean by that is it can connect to different data sources. For example, if you have uh, MySQL or PostgreSQL aside from your SQL Server, or you have Oracle, usually before ADS, you use different tools to manage and to query those databases. For example, you end up using SQL Plus for Oracle, or maybe you're using a third-party tool to query, while you're using SQL Management Studio to query for SQL Server. So ADS allows you to query all those different data sources onto one UI, one application. So the learning curve with using the tool is lower, and you don't have to go in different places just to manage your data. So it becomes a single point where you can manage all your data estate. So that's Azure Data Studio. And what's uh, what's so great on top of that is it's free. It's a tool that developed by Microsoft, so you can download it, and you can download the ADS and then download the extensions for the databases that you want to manage. And yeah, there you can use the application. So right now, and what's very cool about ADS, right now I'm using it to present to you, right? So ADS also brings the notebook experience to your data estate. So it has, if you can see right now, it has a section for your data, for your notes, and it has a section to, for example, for your queries, to run your queries, and it's all in one place. So if, for example, if you're in a team setting, it's very easy to share notes between teams. You can put all the instructions, all the description about yours, for example, your query, or your about this process, and then on the same file, on the same notebook, you have the codes that you can use to discover, to run the queries. Like I can show you, for example, this one. This one is a notebook that I used a while ago. It has different sections wherein I can type in the description, what I'm trying to do, the commands, that the query, and it stores the previous results when you run the query. So here, for example, this is the result when I ran that SQL query before. And what's cool is on the same file, that part is SQL Server, that part is T-SQL, and if you look here below, I'm doing Python on the same file, on the same notebook, and then all the results are are saved on the same file. So when you share it with your, for example, for your team, with your teammate, they have the information, they know how it might look like, and they can work better. You can collaborate better with your team. So that's one thing that is very cool with ADS. Uh, One very common question is, so does it replace SQL Server Management Studio? No, it does not. If you are an administrator, if you do a lot of configuration, for example, if you do a lot of configuring log shipping, configuring AG, you still need to use Management Studio instead of ADS, because ADS is more for developers. Well, for me, in my point of view, it's more for developer, more for exploring your data. But we do have some notebooks that are purely for administration, for example, for monitoring your long-running queries, monitoring your, for example, a runbook for your team for certain processes and for certain troubleshooting. You can definitely use a notebook for that. But for some administrative tasks, it's still easier to do Management Studio or through PowerShell. So that's ADS, and like I mentioned, it's free. You can go to the link on your screen right now and download the tool, and then that's ADS. But then let's talk about what's GitHub Copilot. So like I mentioned earlier, Copilot is everywhere in the Microsoft ecosystem. It's AI pair programmer for GitHub Copilot itself is an AI pair programmer. So it's like your coding assistant. It makes it easier for you to find information, not just uh, information about how to code, how to write this code, or how to write this logic. It also uh, allows you to, do a code chat, in a way wherein you can talk with GitHub Copilot about your code and see rooms for improvement, what you can still do, and how you can implement it better, which is very nice. What it does, it analyzes the files that are open on your, for example, in our case in ADS, the files open in your ADS, whatever you're typing on the query editor, for example. It analyzes what the comments on your file, the contents of the open files, and try to understand what you're trying to do. What it does, it sends that information to the GitHub Pilot service, and then it throws it to the AI Codex model that you can see here, and then this AI Codex model was trained using the public codes and text available over the internet. So it was trained using public codes. So those codes that you put in Stack Overflow, that's the one that it analyzes, and then it tries to come up with suggestions and recommendation for what you're trying to do. So one question that always comes up is, uh, does it well, how does it protect my data? Is it safe? So for this communication, right, there's a lot of things happening at the back end. GitHub at the GitHub Copilot service, it does uh, check your prompts. If there's any PII data, it strips it of any PII information that you may pass. And then aside from that, every prompt is tokenized before it gets sent to the service and up to the model. So once it gets the results and send it back to you, it's also tokenized. And these tokens are not it's not reusable. So, for example, if you ask the same question, it will create another token for it. It doesn't really save your information anywhere on the service or in the model. So there's few ways to use GitHub Copilot. One is to ask it question directly. The other way is to start typing your code, and it will try to predict what you're trying to do and provide you with suggestion. And that comes up if you've been using SMS or Management Studio or Visual Studio. You might be thinking, well, isn't that the same as IntelliSense? Yes, and well, actually, no. If you've used those tools before, IntelliSense has been around in Microsoft tools for quite a while. What it does is, uh, from what you're typing, it will predict the code itself. For example, if you do select, it knows that you need to have a from, or if you call an SP stored procedure, it knows that it will check the parameter that you need to pass, and then shows you. It's like an autocomplete for the code, for the syntax. It doesn't understand what you are trying to do. It doesn't check the logic of what you're trying to do, and it doesn't provide suggestions on that. So that's the difference between IntelliSense and GitHub Copilot. GitHub Copilot is like you're really coding with someone looking over your shoulder and saying, "Is this what you're trying to do?" Just like Clippy, but a lot better. So aside from that, like I mentioned, you can have a conversation about your code base. For example, if you already have existing code, you can ask it how you can improve it. Is there anything that you still need to do? Okay, is there anything that you have to convert? So those questions you can ask GitHub Copilot, and it will provide its suggestion. So what's a prerequisite? What do we need to be able to use GitHub Copilot? For you to be able to use GitHub Copilot, you need an active GitHub Copilot subscription. So I didn't put the information about the subscription here because the best thing is always to check. I'm not sure if you'll be watching this a week from now or a month from now. So the information may change. So the best place to look to check the information about the subscription is on GitHub itself. So right now, as we are recording this, the subscription for personal use is around $10 per month or $100 per year. If you have GitHub on your organization, if you have a business account, you need to have a seat on your organization to be able to use GitHub Copilot. So that's the subscription. There is also a free version, a free subscription type for GitHub, but that's for students and teachers. So you need to check the details there, and I'm not sure if it's gonna be forever. So you need to check the GitHub Copilot subscription page for the details on the subscription. For what we're trying to do right now, for using it on ADS, your ADS needs to be on version 1.44 or later, and then you need to download the GitHub Copilot extension. And like I mentioned, you need to have an account. And this question comes up a lot. Can you use it offline? No, unfortunately, not yet. GitHub Copilot is an online service, so you do need an internet connection to be able to use the service. So with that, that's actually all the slides I have. Well, everything that we're gonna do, like the title of the session is, we're going to experience how it looks like and how it works. So before we dive into it, let me show you. So for ADS, like I mentioned, you just need to go to this link. So you can download ADS from Microsoft itself. It's free. It doesn't matter, like I mentioned, it doesn't matter if you're on Mac, you're on Linux, or on your Windows. There's a version of ADS, and it's the same UI for everything. So you download ADS. This is ADS. This is my ADS. So the next thing on the prerequisite is you need to have the GitHub Copilot extension. So that's also part of the beauty of ADS. It works. The way it works is you need to add extensions for the things that you are going to use. I mentioned earlier, you can use these to connect to different data sources. For example, MySQL. You just need to look for the extension for it and then install. Then you'll be able to connect on MySQL. Same with Postgres. It's also there. Postgres. And of course, Oracle is also there. Or extension for Oracle. So you just need to install the extension so to be able to use to be able to connect to those data sources. And if you can see from the marketplace, there's a lot of things that you can use. So for the one that we want, you have to have GitHub Copilot. Of course, for my ADS, I already installed it so that it won't take, because we only have an hour for this. So I already installed it earlier. So if you're going to install it for the first time, it's the same thing. You go to the extension, you'll find it, and it will show you still uninstalled, and then you can just go ahead and install it. Now, how do I know if it says it's installed? How do I know if it's enabled? You can see here at the bottom, that icon lets you know that Copilot is enabled on this ADS. You can also click the same thing if you want to disable it. You just click it and then disable. You can choose to disable only for SQL. For my ADS, by the way, I have 3 kernels: SQL, Python, and PowerShell, because those are the most common things that I use on on this laptop. So you can choose to disable it just for SQL or for everything. All right. So after that, after you have it installed, of course, it will ask you to sign into your GitHub account. If you have a subscription, it automatically start. And then we can go straight away and try it out. So I'm gonna open. You can actually use it even here on the code section uh, of of a notebook, but so that it's gonna be bigger. I opened a separate uh, query query editor so that it's gonna be bigger for everyone. So first thing, like I mentioned earlier, how you can use it, it analyze your comments, so you can talk to it through the comments. For example, this one thing that a very common mistake that's why people gets turned off when they try Copilot. One thing that when I use GitHub Copilot, I always specify the language because, like I said, you can see it tries to autocomplete what I'm trying to do. It can the Since it learned from the internet, so it doesn't know what you're trying to do. So you have to let it know what your the details. So if I didn't put if I didn't specify the language, it will still help me and it will uh, throw recommendation. But it might be, for example, if we're talking SQL, it can be a PL SQL command, it can be a MySQL command. So if you don't want to keep on typing, uh, write this for T-SQL, write this for PL SQL, you can just straight away say which language you're trying to use. So here I'm I'm gonna use T-SQL because that's what I have. So there you go. So that's how you specify the language. For example, if I do a create, oh, now here's the difference between IntelliSense. Let's see the difference between IntelliSense and Copilot. So here, what you're seeing right now is IntelliSense. So uh, since I write a command, it displays all the available create command in SQL. So uh, and that one, the one in gray, that's Copilot. So if IntelliSense will just try to autocomplete your commands, but here Copilot is trying to predict what I want to do. So he thinks I want to create a table. Here he's giving a temp table. So if you highlight the suggestion, a pop-up will appear and it will show you. It will let you cycle through the recommendation. So here you can see there's 3 recommendations available. So if I cycle there, it will show you what it's recommending. If you want to accept the recommendation, the suggestion, you can press tab. If you want to accept it word for word, for example, if you're writing a very long code and you're using GitHub Copilot to help you navigate the code, you can accept it word for word if you want to change something. So when we press tab, then it will accept it. So that's one way. You can straight away just write your code. The other way is to chat with it using comments. So this one is very useful if, for example, you're even for a seasoned professional. Because, for example, you're an advanced user, you're working you're working on an issue, you just forget the specific table that you want to check. For example, I want to I want to for example, I want to check the indexes. BBO indexes. Is that correct? You can also ask it question. For example, I want to ask it a question. You can put Q or query and then semicolon and then your query. For example, if I want to ask it, it will let you know. So it will tell you the table that you need to check. So if you just forgot the table and you just want some quick help instead of rummaging through Google or to Stack Overflow, you can just throw the question here. It will give you the answer. For example, or you can straight away ask it. For example, we want to ask. Let's see if it will do it. So it's asking you if you want. It also offers you other suggestions. So right now it's trying to check what are we trying to do. It's asking if are we trying to rebuild an index. It's as you can see, it's the way you throw the question. It depends on the way you prompt. The 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 responses that you will get will depend on how you prompt the question. So let's see. See, now it's trying to understand what we're trying to do. Are we trying to just defrag uh, indexes with more than 30% fragmentation? Because that's a very common uh, scenario. So, are you gonna write the query? Oh, maybe it's a bad example. Let's see. So let's try this. So what if I want to I wanted to write I want help for me to write a query. So this. Uh, let's try this. So I I have here I prompted I have orders, products, customers, and order details tables. So I want it to fetch the products, quantity ordered, and description that customers has ordered given customer ID. So I'm asking it to write the query for it. So take note. Uh, I mentioned earlier. Let's see. So it says select product name, quantity, description, which is reasonable given the ones that we asked for. Okay, so you see here the three these characters at the end. That means that's the whole suggestion. I'm not sure why it's doing that, but right now the way GitHub Copilot throws its suggestions, once the whole suggestion is finished, that's the one that it shows. So which is really not a SQL command. So here The query is pretty much reasonable from from oh, from what we asked for. But you can see here there's a red squiggly line. So if you've been using SMS, or if you're familiar with SQL, that means it will generate an error. And if you execute this, it did generate an error because there's a no column name description. So, like I mentioned earlier, GitHub Copilot doesn't have access to your data. Doesn't access your data right now. You can see we're connected to my Northwind database. So even though it's connected, it doesn't have access to your schema. It doesn't know that, for example, that table customers. That it doesn't know the structure of your tables. So this is just a prediction on what columns could be, what could be the names of the columns and the tables based on what you're trying to do, which is very reasonable. If you wanted to have a more accurate suggestion, what you can do is you can script out the tables, script out the create. Like I meant, how I mentioned earlier that it reads only the open files and whatever is on the query editor. So if you script this out and put it on another tab, it will be able to read the description of what customer table is. So it will know what columns. So let's see if it will do that. I already scripted out the tables that I mentioned so that it's gonna be faster. Let's see. Let's put it on top of here. So here is the create statements for the tables. So order details, orders, DBO customers, and products. So if we do that, then Copilot will now have more accurate information about the table. It should be able to provide a more accurate query for us. So let's see. You can see here, it changed the name because now it knows the column names of the that are involved. So product name, quantity, contact name. So I think if I forgot to mention, the way you accept the recommendation is you press tab. So that's the query. Let's see if it's correct. And there you go. You can see that now the query that it generated is accurate, more accurate than the first one because now it knows the context, it knows the definition of your table, it knows the columns, so it will be able to provide a more accurate suggestion for you. So the next question is, can I? Oh, here's another thing. So that's one way of writing the query. Earlier, I showed earlier that if you highlight, you can see the suggestion. This one is only have one, but if you want to force it to generate uh, possible solutions, you can press Control Enter, and it will try to create and find 10 at least 10 solutions for your question. So here you can see all the solutions that it can come up with for your question. So if, for example, it has multiple solutions, you want to check out which one is more acceptable to you, for example, then you can go ahead and just do Control Enter, and it will open up a new window and provide you all the recommendation. That's one way. So this one, let's just accept this one for now. The next question is I mentioned earlier that you can code chat, right? So let's talk to it about this query that it created. Let's see. The most common question and the one thing that we always receive from developer, is there an index required for this query? Oh, it even add to my prompt. If so, what kind? Let's see. And then it will explain to you. I would create a clustered index on order ID column of orders. This would allow the query to quickly find the orders for customers. Oh, and that's not just it. I would also create an unclustered index on product ID. This would allow quickly to find the products that were ordered. Those are very reasonable suggestions. But you see, I mentioned earlier, let's see, do we already have indexes on the products? Orders. I'm like I said before, it doesn't have access to your database, so it doesn't. The only thing that it knows is the table definition. If you created an index if you already have an existing index on the table on your database, it doesn't know because it doesn't check, it doesn't connect to your database, it doesn't check your schema, it doesn't check your objects. So it only knows the definition of the table. So yeah, so you can have conversations like that, and it will suggest. And then, of course, let's see. Create the index. And then it will show you the commands to create the indexes that it suggested. It's even expecting you to ask further if the commands to drop it. Let's see what it is. So it's just gonna give you the drop command for the indexes. So you can see it's very reasonable. It has intelligent questions on the logic. It seems to understand what you're trying to do and what your purpose is. So for example, I don't really want to what if let's see. It doesn't only just do create. Let's see if it can create that as a function. See. So right now it assumes that we're trying to create a process for this query, and we're trying to make it reusable. And see here, I just said create a table value function, but based on the existing information or what we're trying to do, it assumes that I want to do a table value function for this query that it can reuse, which is cool, right? And then it will create a function. There you go. Now, it even has a test for the function. But before we go to that, there's one thing that I want to show. So right now we're connected to a SQL server. We're on a SQL shell, but I mentioned earlier that it can do multiple language. What if I want to change? I want to write this language function. I want it on a different language, for example, or a PL SQL. And you can see let's see if it's correct. And you can see the difference between the two functions. So it looks like it's for PL/SQL for Oracle, and the top one is for SQL Server. So it can work on multiple languages. For example, yeah. So what if so we're not just asking it to change language, but to change the type. And you can see here earlier we started it as a function, right? For SQL Server, we ask it to convert it into a function for Oracle, and now we ask it to create it as a MySQL procedure. So yeah, so it works with multiple language, and it pretty much looks like it does understand what we're trying to do, and it can help you in multiple languages, which is nice. So there you go. So that's how you can work with GitHub Copilot. So let me see. Is there anything else I want to show before? Yeah. So I'm in a SQL shell. Those are still SQL language. But what if I just want to ask you uh, uh, on a different language? Because, for example, right there you go. Still correct. There you go. So it helped us write a query. We use it to help us try and improve the query that we wrote, and then we tried using it to convert it into different languages. So yeah, so that's pretty much very useful. The one thing that I like, for example, if you're like I mentioned, if you're experienced user, or you already know T-SQL, you enable GitHub Copilot. The the one thing that you usually do is you do a lot of queries. You may forget system tables that you need to use, instead of going out of your from ADS and going to search what the table is. Instead of going through the system tables, you can just easily quickly ask it what's the table for this, and then if you want to be independent, you can just write your own query based on the suggestion, which is very nice. uh, so the takeaways for our session. So GitHub Copilot is an AI coding assistant. It only analyzes open files. It does not have access to your database. It doesn't have access to any other thing in your network. It's just analyzing the open files and the prompts that you will send it. It it can be a multiplier for your productivity. We saw you can quickly find information that you need. You can quickly have someone review your code, check for something to improve on. It does require subscription right now, so you can check out GitHub Copilot for the details for the subscription. And the key takeaway for me is ADS is awesome. Sorry, I just love the notebook feel on ADS. I mean, I still love SSMS. As an administrator, I still use it a lot, but I love the notebook, the notebook experience in ADS. With that, let's go to questions. So let's just check on the chat on the questions. Uh, all right. First question on the chat. All right. We have a question from Rodel. Is it also optimizing the suggested queries respecting best use of indexes? As we see on the demo, it first writes the query. So if you want it to optimize on indexes, what we did is we create the query first and then ask it. Uh, if, for example, for existing databases, you likely have a lot of indexes already. If you want it uh, to know that these indexes exist, then you can script it out and uh, open the index definition somewhere or on the same query. Or you can straight away tell it, I have this query, like the way we prompted earlier. Uh, Earlier, we specify here that we have these tables. So for GitHub Copilot and for AI, for this open AI stuff, these uh, pair programming tools, you need to the way you prompt things really affect the suggestion. So if you define it here that I have these tables, I have these indexes, and then it can try and optimize, see, understand that there's index for this column. What should we do? How we can improve this query? Just like what we did earlier. After the query, we ask, is there any indexes that needs by this query? So that's code chat. So you need to talk to it. You need to explain to it so that it knows that you have these indexes. I can reuse this. There's one thing that I didn't show. If you see here, look at this. I was hoping it will come out when I was doing the prompt, but it didn't. So let's see if it can do it. See here. Uh, Earlier it gave me the cost. Let's do this here. See that? Of course, I don't think it will be as accurate if we go to the execution plan and check, but it gives you a guesstimate on the query cost, which will help you. We have another question here from Rodel. Okay, that's good. Okay. So can we have pre-trained GH pilot on current databases it's connected to? The way you pre-train it, like I showed you, is to open the definition. It will not be able. GitHub Copilot doesn't have any capabilities to connect to your database and explore your schema, and it shouldn't have because it's a privacy issue. So what you can do is you can open the definition. One thing you can do if you wanted to know the whole database, you can there's a oh sorry, I was thinking of SSMS, but in SSMS you can script out the whole database, and then you can put it on a query editor and put it there so that it knows the all the objects on that database. That's one way you can pre-train it so that the like here, this more or less what you have to do. You have to put the definition, the table definition itself. All right, and And there's a comment from Vince that he was late. Yeah, it's okay. The session is recorded, so if you want to, it is recorded and you can find it in the YouTube channel of Microsoft Reactor, so you can watch it on demand later on. All right. Are there any more questions? All right. I don't think we have any more. Going once? Let me see. All right. All good. So those are all the questions. So thank you for joining us in this session. Uh, I'm going to invite Suzanne back so that she can talk about the startup founders and the next episode in the series.
Hi. That was a great session. Thanks, Pio. I think I have a few questions that I can imagine some of some of the people who are new to this whole GitHub Copilot that they
Mhm.
may have. You mentioned that it does not have access to database and schema, but technically, who owns the code that GitHub Copilot generates?
Oh, the ownership for the code it generates. We didn't see it, but sometimes if there's a license involved in the code that it generates, it will also pop up on the screen. There, you're gonna receive a notification that this code has similar codes, license code in the internet, and then it will show you the similar codes in the license that they have, so you can check if it's free for you to reuse or you need to recode it on your own. So yeah, it shows you the licensing on the queries. If it doesn't prompt for any licensing, that means it's your code. It's a free. It doesn't have any licenses, so you can use that code.
Perfect. Okay, that's very, very helpful. And I think like if I were a student now, I would find this like super helpful as well with my school assignments. Yeah.
Yeah, especially
So
if you're trying to learn SQL if you're first time coding, and you're
right.
trying to learn how to write certain logic. This is a very helpful tool. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a game changer. So everybody watching this session today, if you found this session helpful, please take time to hit on the like and subscribe button, or maybe hit on the notify button so you know you'll be notified of more sessions. And so you probably know, as you can see from the screen share, our mission at Microsoft is to empower every human and organization to achieve more. And this includes startups as well. So, I mean, we're not selling anything here, but just for you to know that we want to enable founders to be able to solve world problems and build a better future. So, if you have plans to create a product centering around AI or even accelerate your AI innovation, so we have the Microsoft for Startups Founders Hub. You may just want to check it out. It's actually a dynamic platform and ecosystem supporting founders from ideate stage to development, grow, and scale stages. So we're talking about free OpenAI credits, up to 150,000 Azure credits, and you have access to heaps of development tools to support you, from our experts to even third-party tools like Sales Navigator, Recruiter, and Business Premium. There's also Bubble for no-code application development and a few other applications. So all the good stuff, and I encourage you to check out this link. I'm just going to place it in the ticker here so it pops up. Yeah. So yeah, and if you have enjoyed today's session, please join us for the next one. You can actually, yeah, the next session. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's actually about functions and prompt engineering. The link is here. It's Let's Get Technical RSVP. We have also added a couple more sessions in February to be delivered in Tagalog. So I know we have some friends from the Philippines joining us today. So you might just want to check that out. So finally, we have also included a survey to today's session. Oh, that's the on-demand link. But okay, yeah. We have also added a survey to today's session. So if you have time to fill that out, we'll be super happy and super appreciative. So I'm just going to pop the link here as well. Yeah, you can do so. If you want to check out our on demand, you can also do that on our Reactor YouTube channel. Yeah, and if you have enjoyed today, do us a favor, hit on the like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments so that we can continue to create more of such content. So yeah, thank you. So that concludes our end of the session. Do you have any more things to add, Pio? Sorry, I've just went on and on.
No, all good. I just the last bit. Thank you everyone for joining us, especially those who joined us until the end of the session, and for those watching this on demand. If you reach here, then thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much and have a lovely week ahead. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.